In the news tonight, a shooting at a gas station leaves one man dead and a male employee injured. Distinguished historian Dr. Carl Watson is dead. And in sports, Warriors dethrone the two-time defending champs of the BIM 10 tournament.
Broadcasting from our studios in the Pine St. Michael, this is CBC NewsNight, starting now.
A very good evening to you. I'm Lisa Broom. Thank you so much for tuning in. In our top story tonight, police are tonight investigating a shooting at Curtains in St. Philip, which has left one man dead and another injured. The incident occurred this afternoon, leaving bystanders shocked at the reckless and deadly act. Anesta Henry has that story.
A brazen daylight shooting has left one man dead, and the gas station attendant also hit during the incident. This took place at the Rubis Curtains gas station and food mart in Curtains, St. Philip. Taxi driver Junior Leacock says he had just pulled into the gas station when the shots started. Mr. Leacock says he had to duck to escape bullets that riddled the maxi taxi he was driving.
I hear this packs like somebody tear a blow. When I see these three men, and then I hear like, and all I could do is bend. All I could do is bend. To my side, I ain't got much room in there for me, and that tall man.
Police Communications and Public Affairs Officer Inspector Rodney Innes says a male in his 40s received multiple gunshot wounds and died at the scene. The male employee was rushed to the Queen Elizabeth Hospital by a private vehicle. Mr. Innes says police need help from the public as they investigate the matter.
We ask if any witnesses to come forward and give us what they saw, what they heard, so we can piece this together. This occurred on a morning where there were several customers in the service center purchasing breakfast and food, and other persons being attended to with petrol in their vehicles, and clear there. And it shows you the kind of brazen incidents that we're facing now.
Mr. Innes says the incident has left staff and customers at the gas station shaken. He also noted the number of homicides so far this year.
This is the third fatality incident homicide for the year, and it's not a good year so far.
Police say there are reports of another shooting incident at Harlington St. Philip, which is also being investigated. They have not indicated if the two matters are related. Anesta Henry, CBC News.
A distinguished Barbadian who made a profound impact on the academic landscape of the Caribbean and who is now leaving a five-fold legacy. That's how the late university lecturer and heritage expert Dr. Carl Watson is being described by his colleagues and students. Sherwood McCaskey reports.
First of all, he was a diplomat. He was a professional diplomat, and he represented Barbados in several countries, which worked well because he was multilingual. He was one of those rare Barbadians who spoke several languages.
Retired senior manager of the Caribbean Broadcasting Corporation and former student Rosemary Allen remembers the late Dr. Watson.
Carl was a humanist. He cared about people. He loved animals. He loved history. He loved relating Caribbean history and Barbadian history to his people.
He taught at the university, and he introduced the master's, the MA in heritage studies, and that is something that really produced a great many historians, a great many documents, because he became the editor of the Barbados Museum Journal, and many of the research projects that his students studied became papers in the wonderful Museum Journal, which he edited for about 20 years.
Myself and Margaret Brooms, now Dr. Margaret Brooms, we were his little birds. We were his first two students in the university's Masters in Heritage program. And Carl really took us under his wing.
You know, Dr. Watson was my teacher. He was my supervisor for my PhD thesis. He was my mentor. He was a friend. He was an advocate, a consummate diplomat, just so lovely and kind to everyone and everything. Natural and cultural.
Another aspect of Dr. Watson's five-fold legacy is his work with the Barbados National Trust.
Carl had the distinction of serving as the longest serving president of the Barbados National Trust. He did 7 years because he was really needed, and he brought his diplomatic skills and his passion for Barbados heritage into that. And one of his legacies was the work on Morgan Lewis Mill.
We've lost an oracle, somebody who was able to push into the past and bring those stories to the present.
In fulfillment of his civic responsibility to Barbados, Dr. Watson has participated in several educational television programs, including Tales from the Tomb.
This is a tombstone of Captain John Rainsford.
No doubt many an interesting tale will now be told from Dr. Watson's tomb. Sherwood McCaskey, CBC News.
Prime Minister Mia Amor-Motley has joined Barbadians in mourning the loss of Dr. Carl Watson. In a statement, she said he dedicated his life to preserving and celebrating the essence of what it means to be Barbadian. Prime Minister Motley noted that for over 60 years, Dr. Watson gave unparalleled service for the love of Barbados and its people. She said his study and preservation of the nation's history and heritage were grounded in a profound understanding of the value of Barbados's past. Indeed, she said his efforts have helped remind us that in a time of much global uncertainty, knowing where we came from ensures we never forget who we are and what we're capable of. She adds his work has enriched our collective identity as Barbadians. The Prime Minister says on behalf of the government and people of Barbados, she extends heartfelt condolences to his family, friends, and all who mourn this irreplaceable loss. And coming up, increasing efforts to tackle substance abuse. The National Council on Substance Abuse is widening its reach to combat substance abuse on the island, and Minister of Home Affairs and Public Information Wilfred Abrams says all segments of Barbados have a part to play in rehabilitating those who might fall victim to drug abuse. He was speaking during the NCSA's annual church service at the Silver Sands Church of God. Rachel Agard has that report.
No single agency can tackle the scourge of substance use and abuse alone. This is according to Minister of Home Affairs and Public Information Wilfred Abrams, who says this year's national response will be deliberate and include multiple stakeholders.
The power of collaboration is invaluable, and collaboration requires us to unite diverse perspectives, expertise, and resources from various sectors. In this spirit, I'm particularly pleased that Verdun and Marina House will join with the National Council on Substance Abuse this Drug Awareness Month to host joint and complementary activities designed to educate on this scourge.
The minister reminds the church and community groups that they too have a role to play in the fight against substance abuse and helping with the creation of policies. He says he remains concerned about the percentage of people who do not seek treatment.
The work of NCSA and Verdun and Marina Houses and similar organizations has become increasingly complex due to the introduction of new psychoactive substances in Barbados. This, friends, parishioners, constituents, invited guests, and online participants, this is a serious concern. As the minister with responsibility for the National Council on Substance Abuse, I've already issued 2 alerts through the early warning system about the presence and use of these dangerous drugs in Barbados.
Meanwhile, NCSA's manager, Betty Hunt, says they have widened its reach to those seeking their services. She says they now have a suite of services which can be offered both online and in person.
We have to ensure that more systems are put in place to mitigate the harms caused not only at the individual level, but also in the wider society. I therefore call again for a coordinated frontal approach to this issue through the adoption of a Barbados National Anti-Drug Plan, which can provide a mechanism not only for measurement, but it can provide a mechanism to how we intervene and how we, more importantly, reintegrate persons back into society.
Ms. Hunt says problematic drug use has the potential to erode economic gains by destroying the lives of users and increasing the burden on public health and the criminal justice system. Rachel Agard, CBC News.
The Frank Cullimore Literary Endowment Committee has announced plans to roll out a number of initiatives this year. The announcement was made at the 27th Frank Cullimore Literary Endowment Awards ceremony held at Frank Cullimore Hall. Anesta Henry has more.
The Frank Cullimore Literary Endowment Committee continues to work year-round to ensure the best Barbadian writing gets highlighted and rewarded. Chairman Yvonne Week says this year will be no different as the committee intends to roll out several projects, one which will include students. The award-winning writer gave a brief insight into the committee's plans for the year during the 27th Frank Cullimore Literary Endowment Awards ceremony.
In 2025, we have some exciting projects. We have an editing workshop coming up. We have a spoken word workshop coming up. We are hoping to go back into secondary schools with our writers. And we also want to ensure that the FCLE has more visibility.
Ms. Week says the FCLE takes the business of writing seriously, and many have benefited from its establishment in 1997 as part of efforts to support the development of Barbados' artistic and cultural landscape.
In addition, I know firsthand what the FCLE does. It launches some of us. Some people come in already strong writers. Others come in hoping to become writers. But what is important is that the FCLE committee helps to produce a cadre of writers who are not just known in Barbados, but are known throughout the region and through globally. And so therefore we are producing a canon of Barbadian and Caribbean literature that we can be ultimately extremely proud of.
Several of Barbados' best writers were celebrated for their craft during the awards ceremony. The competition's panel of judges announced that Naila Fulani Imoja will take home the first place prize of $10,000 and the FCLE award for her winning fiction piece, Jamaica's Exam. And Akim Chandler Prescott, who is the inaugural winner of the spoken word category, took the first spot once again for his Monsters Are Real piece, walking away with $5,000 in cash.
I wanna sing a song.
The event was open to the public free of cost. Anesta Henry, CBC News.
We'll take a break here. When we come back, Mark Seal and the sports news.
Good evening with Sports Night. I'm Mark Seal. Starting with cricket, Warriors are the new champions of the BIM 10 tournament. They defeated two-time defending champ Settlers in today's final at Windward. Settlers batted first and posted 120 for 3. Skipper Nicholas Curtin added 45 not out from just 17 deliveries with 6 fours and 2 sixes. Warriors then replied with 122 for 3 off 9.5 to win by 7 wickets. Player of the match, Raymond Kelman, led the victory charge with 64 off just 27 deliveries with 5 fours and 6 sixes. We have full match highlights.
Oh, it's gone aerial. Will ball number 1 be wicket number 1? It is indeed a bit of a fumble, but in the end, oh, what a way to start the final. This time Richards gets it. Does he get all of it? Does Marshall change anything? Goes again. Oh, this is beautiful. Sends them scampering. There you have it. He will not let the young man settle. That is his first maximum. And he's given LBW. Well, there you have it. We predicted it. Flies off the edge and could be the end of Stout. It is a good catch. Well, that's what happens when you don't take your chances. Curtin makes you pay. Straight back. Oh, what a way to bring an end to the innings. Curtin closes it out with 2 boundaries. Brings up 120 in 10 overs for the Settlers. Gets it through the offside. Shot of class. That is what we're talking about. That is Raymond Kelman at his Raymond Kelman best. Talking about share, he is sharing licks. Licks like peas. Catches the cry, but it will not be caught. W-O-W, wow. And it will not stop. Oh, the handbrake is down. Will this be relief at long last? It is. This one has gone sky high. And it goes all the way. Wrapped on the pad. And he's given. It's straight enough, says the umpire. And Kelman does not care, for that has disappeared. That will help. That will bring the ticker down into the 20s. It also brings up a 50 for Raymond Kelman. That ball has wings. It's not an airplane. It's off the back of Raymond Kelman. It goes up. Does it fall safely? It does. Spinning around, but he's run out. Well, add to the drama because that will go into somebody's living room. At long last, they have tasted victory. For the first time, the Warriors are champions of BIM 10 cricket.
And in more cricket news, Shafan Rutherford and the Desert Vipers began their International League T20 campaign with a 7-wicket victory today over Sunil Narayan's Abu Dhabi Knight Riders in Abu Dhabi. Knight Riders posted 166 for a 5 from their 20. Andre Russell providing a quick-fire 30. Vipers then comfortably reached their target of 168 for a 3 off 18.4. West Indies and Pakistan Shaheens settled for a draw in their 3-day warm-up match at the Islamabad Club Cricket Oval today. Scorers: Windies 134 for 6, for 346 for 8 declared, that should be, and 177 for 5 declared. Alec Athene has made 58 and Tevin Imblak 57. The Shaheens 212 for 9 declared and 128 for 2. Now the first test begins January 17th. And in football, Manchester United defeated Arsenal 5-3 on penalties in their third-round FA Cup tie today after the score was 1-1 following extra time. That's sports. Weather's next.
Good evening and welcome to the weather news. Well, the ridge pattern was our dominant feature today. As a result, we had mostly sunny skies. The winds across the region, they are light to moderate and they're peaking at 60 knots for us here in Barbados. Meanwhile, those seas, they are above normal. We do have a small craft as well as high surf advisory in effect. The maximum temperature today was 29 degrees Celsius, the minimum 24 degrees. At present, the temperature stands at 26 degrees Celsius. The relative humidity 73%, which means that the atmosphere is quite dry at this time. Those winds are coming in from the east. We take a look now at our satellite feed, where the ridge pattern was our dominant feature. We had mostly sunny skies here in Barbados. Meanwhile, those winds are peaking at 60 knots for us. The seas, moderate to rough in open water, with swells peaking at 3 meters. We are urging small craft operators as well as sea bathers to exercise caution. There is a small craft as well as high surf advisory in effect. Now, later on tonight, the ridge pattern will dominate. We are expecting mostly clear skies, along with just a few light showers. Further south, afternoon showers prevailed across the Guianas. And over in the Western Caribbean, there is a cold front, maintaining showers over the Bahamas as well as Cuba. There is also a trough system generating wet conditions over Jamaica. We move now to the forecast, where the sun is expected to rise at 6:24 and will set at 5:49. The first high tide, that's expected at 6 minutes after 4 in the early morning, and the first low at 8:56 a.m. Now, those seas, moderate to rough in open water, with swells peaking at 3 meters. We are urging small craft operators as well as sea bathers to exercise caution. The winds are coming in from the east to the east-northeast, and they're peaking at 30 kilometers per hour. For us here in Barbados tonight, we can expect mostly clear skies, along with just a few light showers. And over the next 3 days, a shear line is expected to affect us here in Barbados. However, we are expecting a mix of sunshine, clouds, and showers.
That's our news for tonight. Thank you so much for tuning in. Good night.